Hello, my Teaser King family. How is everybody on this beautiful Sunday, May 19th? Just want to send my picture 1 second. Okay. Well, what a day we had yesterday. Oh my God. Let's go through the baseball. This is the best day I've had. We start with the Yankees, 5-star winner. We have the Cubs, winner, 1-0, but that was the point. Their guy, the ace with the 1 ERA, came up. We had Kansas City, winner, 10-star. We had Houston under with Verlander, beautiful, was what, 2-1 or 3-2, under 8, 10-star winner. Only loss was Boston, which I had a bad feeling on because Cutter Crawford, the last 3 or 4 games, wasn't pitching well. And so I made it a 3-star and I lost. Miami over 7.5. I initially wanted the Mets, and after reading it, I went with Miami over 7.5, 5-star winner. Cleveland over 7.5, 5-star winner, and the Dodgers at night, 5-star winner. What a fucking day. Oh my God. So there is a method to my madness. So the ERAs, why are they working better now? Is simply because you're getting more statistics. In other words, when we do football and we look at trends, we'll do. Well, who can we do? We can do Mahomes, right? He's been there 5 years, or Joe Burrow. Well, Joe Burrow has been injured. Let's look at Mahomes. Well, in the first 5, 6, 7 games, you can't use trends because you don't have enough data. But now there's more data, right? Now we got 5 years of Mahomes. We know exactly, oh, he's a dog. Go cash in. And see, that's the problem in football. You used to be able to use trends. Now you got Aaron Rodgers on the Jets. You got no trends. You got Joe Burrow. He's there, but he got injured. So you can't count last year or most of last year's. You can use Lamar's. You can start using Brock Purdy's. You can now Justin Herbert. You can't use now. Probably till about 10, 11 games. We'll see how Harbaugh does. Maybe it's more of an under team. Oakland, new coach, new quarterback. You can't use them. Pittsburgh, you can't use. Now they got Russell Wilson, and Cleveland, who knows the quarterback. So there's a lot of teams you can't use. Philly, I don't know. They keep changing coordinators. The Lions, you can probably use. They've had the same coach, quarterback for 2 years. So the idea is after you have more stats, it's more reliable. The trend starts showing. That's all I'm saying. So now we have in baseball, the pitchers have now pitched 8, 9 games now. Verlander, we know, so we don't need him. We've seen him for 20 years, right? So we know he's superstar. Most of the other pitchers, so many pitchers are out. I don't know what that is. They pitch every 5th day, 100 pitches, and they're all injured. Like something's wrong. That obviously they can't throw as hard as they want to. It hurts them, and you need to pitch regularly, right? If you're an 85, 90 mile an hour pitcher, that's all. To try to get to 100 and you rip your shoulder or you rip your back probably isn't a good thing to do. And that's what they want. Oh, he can throw 100 miles an hour. Yeah, big deal. People can hit 100 mile an hour. It's not that difficult. It's just timing it up. And I remember talking to some guy, I don't know where, and I was talking about something about baseball, and he goes, well, can you hit 95 miles an hour? I go, yeah. Okay, it said I was offline, but it looks like I'm back on. Okay. So that's what you have. You just feel the pitch, and then it's just swing at a certain point. So anyway. So it's not that hard to hit 95 if you're a professional baseball player, right? It'd be like me saying, "Oh, this guy sucks. He hit 80 at the Masters," and somebody says, "Well, can you do better?" And I go, "Yeah, I probably could. Probably shooting a mid 70s there." A course is a course. You play it backwards. You play it to where am I putting uphill? Can you hit your drives in the fairway? Can you hit your irons on the green? Yeah, I can do that. Okay. So people just don't get it. I don't know. Anyway, so we're getting more stats on the pitchers. So when they say now a guy's pitched 7, 8 games and he's got a 2.0 ERA, that's what he means. We see Cutter Crawford on Boston started with 0-0. First 2 games were shutout. Now he's given up 3, 4 runs a game. They got killed yesterday. And it's funny is I had a feeling about that, right? And I was almost going to take it off because I like Cutter Crawford. And then when I started looking at his record, I go, I don't like him anymore. He's giving up 3, 4 runs the last 3, 4 games. So the trends are they're getting more where you can't look at his 2 ERA. It's more of a 4 ERA. So you're just starting to get more who the player is. And then you see, well, like the guy in Kansas City, he's got a legitimate 1.5 ERA. We knew Verlander, but the team they played, that pitcher also pitched good. It was a very low-scoring game. The Cubbies guy, he looks good. So you start getting 7, 8 statistics. It's much more meaningful. Sometimes you get skewed, like Cutter Crawford, 2 shutouts, 4 bad outings, but it mixes as a 2.0. But if you look into the detail, it's not a 2.0. It was a 0. It's now a 4. So it's probably more of a 4 than a 2. So you do have to dig in a little. But if it's consistent, now even Verlander, shut out the Tigers. Here he gave up. I think he shut out whoever he played yesterday. They scored when he took them out. I think he pitched 7 or 8 innings. And then he had a bad game against the Yankees where he gave up 8. So when you look at Verlander's ERA of 3, it was 1 bad game against the Yankees, but the other 3, he's basically shut you out. So it's the other way where really Verlander's, we just know he's an ace. So you ignore that 8 against the Yankees as well. That's gambling. NBA called it perfectly. As I said, OKC has their backs against the wall, and I checked in on it. Third quarter, they're up like 15. And I said, well, they couldn't do it at home in game 5. Now they're doing it in Dallas in game 6. And then I kind of checked the score with 3 minutes left, and it was a 1-point game. So I'm watching the end of the game. Now, I had picked Dallas, but I didn't bet it. Like I said, it was not Dallas have their back against the wall, but I didn't trust OKC. So the play was OKC with their back against the wall, but you can't see that's the problem. You couldn't trust them because how bad they played in game 5. You couldn't win at home in game 5. You're not probably going to win in Dallas. They should have won in Dallas. But anyway, so I didn't really play the game. I didn't take Dallas minus the 3.5. I knew OKC would play their best game because it's do or die. Hey, Greg and John. And that's what happened. And OKC came on and then choked at the end. And that's why they're not, moving on. How they're the 1 seed, I don't know. It didn't look that good. Dallas looked a lot better. How are they the 5 seed? That's ridiculous. So this will be interesting. Dallas and Denver. We got 2 today. So let's look at the NBA today. Let's go May of 19. NBA. Bank of America is closing many banks. Okay. Are you with Bank of America? Not surprising. They've been closing branches. You can only ATM. So I think what you can do with them, Greg and John, is still do the ATMs. You can still pull your money out. They're just not going to have the office open. they're in big debt with all the derivatives that they've done in gold and silver. They're starting to come home. These banks have a lot of derivatives, which means they're like options, and they're all losing, especially with gold and silver, because gold and silver is not coming down. They thought they could, but China is just buying and buying and buying, as is India. So the price is just going to go to the moon. Therefore, it's not surprising. I'm sure we'll hear many banks going. Now, they're closing banks, but like I said, they're closing the building, but you'll still be able to get your money in and out. So if you're direct depositing, you got a job and your direct deposits Bank of America, it'll still hit. You can still pay your bills, I believe. I don't believe they're closing. I think it's just a physical location. So not really sure on that. But if I had an account at Bank of America, I'd be opening up another account somewhere. I'm at Fifth Third, which all I do is get my checks deposited and I pay my bills out of it, and my debit card, of course. So, yeah, we're going to see a lot more of this. That's why we're buying gold and silver. I mean, that's the reason, because can't fuck with gold and silver. I don't need a bank for gold and silver. You need a bank for the Titanic money. For the paper crap, you need a bank for, not the gold. All right, let's look at today's NBAs. We got game sevens. We got Indy at New York. New York minus 3.5. One of the New York players got hurt. I don't know who he is. I've never heard of him, but I haven't heard of too many players in the league. Indy won game 6, back against the wall. Now you've got a double back against the wall game. So it's hard to bet game sevens because you've got both teams have to win, and therefore both teams will play as hard as they can. There's no, in the back of my mind, we can lose, right? We have to win or we get eliminated. So in that instance, it's just based on, normally the home crowd helps you, like Dallas yesterday, but Dallas was not in an elimination game. So they won, but not in an elimination. So it's really based on who the best players are, which I don't know any players on either team. The best player will win, like Luka Brasi or this other guy, Jokic or whatever. Seemed that that's where the skill comes in. That's where the Jordan, the Magic, the Bird, they would win this game. That's why I don't think Jordan was the best. He did win, but he didn't beat Bird or Magic. He never beat Bird, and he beat Isaiah only once. So I don't sit there and say, oh, look how good Jordan was. He won 6. Bill Russell won 10, but nobody mentions him. Jordan was unique. I don't doubt that, but he was just a good scorer, basically, right? And Magic was a great passer, and Larry Bird was a great player. I mean, he can play offense, defense, rebounds, shoot. But at the end of the day, Jordan never beat Bird, but Magic did. That's why I think Magic is the best, or Kareem or Wilt. Those are the best because they beat the best. Just like Ric Flair says, to be the best, you got to beat the best. Magic beat Bird twice. And Jordan didn't beat him at all. Jordan would score 50 points, then they lose by 30 in those games. That's my point on Jordan. He never beat the best, so he can't be Ric Flair. So there you go. So maybe you take the home team. All right, maybe we take the Knicks, lay the 3.5 at home, but there is an injured player. However, that doesn't mean anything. The other players will play well knowing he's injured, and he hurt his abdomen or something. I don't know. But still, okay, New York at home, I think that's the difference, is when the crowd now is the difference. So, again, very small New York. I wouldn't, one unit. I mean, this is not the game to bet. I know it's out there and you want to bet it, but it's not the game to bet. because of the injury and the fact that it's a do or die for both teams. So there's no advantage. Minnesota, Denver, same thing. Backs against the wall for both teams. It's an elimination game. Denver's laying 4.5. I do like Denver here because I think they're the better team. When they needed to win games 3 and 4 at Mini, they did. And then they won game 5. And then when Mini had to win game 6 at home, they did, but they didn't win game 5 where they really needed to. So I'm leaning towards Denver here. I think they're the better team. I know our little friend Anthony Davis, who comes on once to say how good he is. See, this is what happens when you're not stoic. Stoic, you don't brag about yourself, right? He says he's the best in the world, and after the first 2 games, and then we don't hear from him anymore, and they get their ass kicked in the next 2. So I like Denver here. This I do like. I think they're the better team. So we're going to play Denver. We'll play them for 5 units, but I don't really love it. But I think at home they will. I think they'll win. New York Indy will be a tighter game because of the injury. But here's where the home crowd is a huge advantage in basketball, because you basically got 20,000 people sitting around a court, and it tends to emotionally, the home team is getting the crowd, is get the juice, and the road team isn't. So that's my thought there. So let's go. Kind of ignore New York Indy. If you must bet it, take New York. Very, very, not for any. Denver will put a little play in for, just because I think they're the better team and they're at home, and from watching this series. All right. MLB, Major League Baseball. What a happy day yesterday. Oh, my God. I'm looking at it going, yeah, the Cubs stayed in. Houston, Verlander stayed in. KC. Miami went over. Cleveland went over. The Dodgers won at night. It was like, what a happy day. All right, 105. It's 11:30. We got an hour and a half. Boston and St. Louis, 1967 World Series. Bob Gibson won that one. Nick Pivetta, 1-2 with a 3.48 against for Boston. Martin Liberatore, 1-1 with a 4.56. See, these are the games that I have to kind of analyze a little bit better. Do these go over? Do these go under? This is confusing. See, these have been tending to play over because I have 2 bad pitchers, right? I got a 4.56 and a 3.5. Neither of them are really any good. Both teams can do it. So I come here, St. Louis, Boston. I got to update this today or tomorrow. Boston, 2.43 with a 3.19 ERA. And so they hit okay. St. Louis is a 2.22 batting average for. So Boston's the better team here. Boston is favored. Yeah, I would take Boston, but I don't like it. I'm not betting it. We'll go Boston. Seattle, Baltimore. Yesterday we didn't have pitchers. We couldn't play the game. Today we've got George Kirby, Seattle, 4-3 with a 3.58 against Corbin Burns, 3-2 with a 2.68. I know Seattle kind of sucks hitting wise. Yeah, they hit 226. Pretty good bullpen against Baltimore, who hits 243, 338. Pretty good bullpen. Baltimore's the better team. They got the better pitcher. Let's go Baltimore. Go Baltimore, beat Navy, and we will. Yeah, we can play for 5 units. Now, notice the difference with the day I had yesterday, going 7-1 on my 5-unit, 10-unit picks. You have more confidence today, right? Maybe I wouldn't play Baltimore if I had a losing record yesterday. But the fact I won, I'm going, oh, I know what I'm doing now. I mean, everything fell right. The theory's working as far as starting pitching ERA and looking at some bullpen ERA. So you get the confirmation and the confidence based on that. So it's like asking a girl out. She smiles at you, go, hey, you want to go out? And she says yes. You get the confirmation that everything's fine. Okay, right. She gave me the signal. I took it, and we're going out. And that's but when they reject you, you're like scared to do it again, or you got to get mentally going. I'll just ask another one. I'll ask I'll ask 100 girls out till one of them says yes, which would probably debilitate you. But in this case, um, picking a lot of winners gives you the confidence that I know what I'm doing and I'll continue. Now, again, this is gambling, same as putting the money in Bank of America, same as putting money in the stock market. The biggest difference here is, so let's say we bet Baltimore $100 and we win, it's over. You get the money and you won. But in the stock market, you never know when to pull your money. So you have a day and it goes up 2 points. Oh, okay, great. Then you have a day, it goes down 2 points. What do I do? Well, I'll stay. I'll stay because it's going to keep going up. You don't know that. What if you own Kmart or Sears stock? There's a movie, Blast from the Past, where the guy's in a bomb shelter for a while, and he comes out. He's got all these shares, and one of them was Polaroid, and and it's like, is Polaroid around? It's not even around now. If I had shares of that, it probably wouldn't be worth anything. So anyway, that's the whole thought process. What do you do with your money? But in sports, it's easy. Or if you play poker, it's kind of easy. Poker, you need to know when to quit. But if you get up and you win $500 and you end the session, you've ended. Now you're a winner. You've ended it. It's during the session. When do you quit? And people don't understand when I want to quit a winner. They go, I don't get this quit a winner thing. Well, it's based on quitting a winner. I mean, what part of it don't you understand? Every session you want to win versus losing, right? I don't want to lose $500. I want to, even if I win 50, it's better than losing the 500. And they just don't get that concept, which is why I'm the professor and they're sitting there, until they lose all their money. All right. So we go with Baltimore. The White Sox and the Yankees. Oh, yeah, the Yankees are minus 300, 8.5. We've got Chris Flexen, 2-3 with the 4.46 against Carlos Rodon, 4-2 with the 3.31. Rodon's not strong enough to take the Yankees and lay 300. So I think we then turned it into an over-under, and then we got to look. The White Sox hit 213 with the 4.13 ERA. So the Yankees should win. The Yankees hit 250 with the 2. See, it's hard to go over when the Yankees ace in the bullpen has a 0 ERA. You're not getting runs from the Yankee bullpen. So this makes it very difficult. I think you have to go with the Yankees, but you're laying 300. So it's got to be a very small. So I like the Yankees, but I don't like the 300. So we won't bet it. It's like in football laying, taking Kansas City laying 25 points to the Lions. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's too many points. All right. Washington, Philly, a good NFC East game. The Redskins, Philly's a 250 favorite, 7.5. Trevor Williams, 4-0 with a 1.94 ERA against Aaron Nolan, 5-2 with a 3.10 ERA. This is a game I got to take Washington as a big dog, and I'm going to play it for 5 units. So Aaron Nolan's good, 5-2 with a 3.10, but I got my ace, Trevor Williams, 4-0 with a 1.94. Philly's not going to hit this guy. Philly's a 250 favorite. Can somebody explain that to me? What, are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. All right, Nola's good, but Trevor Williams, 4-0. It'd be like Verlander here. Would you take Verlander plus 250? All day. So let's go Washington. Now, do we go under on the game? Washington, 228. Yeah, they don't hit. Philly is a 260. So Philly hits better, but they ain't going to hit this guy. This is my whole theory here. Philly with a 260 average will be lucky to get 3 hits against Trevor Williams with the 4-0 with a 1.94 ERA. That's the point. Nola should keep the game. It should be a low-scoring game, but at the 250, Philly's laying 250. You could never bet Philly laying 250 in this game. I don't understand it. I'd rather take the Yankees at the 300. At least I got Rodon, who's 331, against Flexen, who's 2-3 with the 4.46. All right, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but okay, the White Sox can't hit, and we got the best bullpen in the league. And the Yankees with their ace, who's played 15, 20 games with a 0 ERA. So Yankees get up, and it's all over. Here, I got a little different animal. I got my ace going, and he's getting 250. How can you give 250 against the ace? It doesn't make sense. So go Washington, beat Navy. That's a 5-star. If it was a worse Philly pitcher, it'd be a 10-star. But against Nola, he's pretty good. We will see. It should be, my guess, 2-1, 3-1 game, something like that. Tampa Bay and Toronto. Aaron Chevalier for Tampa Bay, 2-3 with the 5.83. Alex Manoah, 0-0 with the 4.9. Well, we got 2 pigs going. Let's look at their hitting. Tampa hits 245, Toronto 230, and they both have weak bullpens. All right. So we're going to go T-Bay over 8. And this will be our 10 unit. I got 2 bullshit starters. I got 2 weak bullpens and 2 teams that hit fairly well in Toronto, which is, a place you can get a lot of hits, a lot of runs in. Tampa's favored, which I don't understand, with the 105 ERA or a 105 with a 583 pitcher. How the fuck can you bet on a 583 pitcher? What, are you kidding me? Manoah's bad, but I don't like Chevalier. He belongs in Montreal anyway. He's French. So you got to go over the 8. I mean, and then that's such a low number here. So I had Toronto over 7.5 yesterday, which won. So they're scoring runs. So this will be the best play of the games of the day so far, is take Tampa, Toronto over 8, which is a very low number with these pitchers. See, so Vegas is just looking at batting average, and I don't know what they're looking at. This should be a 10, right? At least. How do you make it an 8? All right, Minnesota and Cleveland. Who won yesterday? I don't think I played it. Cleveland over 7.5 won. So I don't know who won, but I know it's high scoring. Okay, that's good. Shows they're hitting. Minnesota's a favorite here again, 105 over under 7.5. Chris Paddock, 4-2 with a 4.89 against Tanner Bibby, 2-1 with a 4.34 and an over under of 7.5. All right, Cleveland over 7.5, and this has got to be a 10 unit. It went over yesterday. Same thing, 7.5 went over. You've got 2 crap pitchers, 4.89 and 4.34. I don't know why Minnie's favored, and it's only 7.5 with these 2 pitchers. Are you kidding me? So I've been noticing every time we've seen this with the 2 crap pitchers and the 7.5, it goes over almost every time. It's when the Verlander pitches and the Yankees put up 8 on him, or something like that. The ace has a bad day. Otherwise, with these guys, once in a while, one of them gets a shutout, or one guy had a perfect game through 7 with a 5 ERA. So hard to say, but this is definitely how do you get 7.5 with a 4.89 and a 4.34 ERAs? What, are you kidding me? All right, the JETSs against Miami. We got Dan Marino going against Boomer Esiason, I guess. Yeah, I hate Boomer Esiason. Mets are 148.5. Sean Manaea for the Jets, 2-1 with a 3.05 against Sixto Sanchez, 0-1 with a 5.96. Let's look at Sean Manaea. What the hell is 2-1 with a 3.05? Oh, he went to Indiana State. Maybe he knows Larry Bird. An Indiana guy that didn't play basketball. Hard to believe. So he's generally 6 or 5 innings. He's had a 3 and a 4. The 4 is strange because he gave up 4 hits and no runs and only pitched 4 2/3. These managers are so smart. Oh, he might get his arm might get tired. He threw 80 pitches. He's only a professional athlete. We gotta sit him down. So if we look at Manaea, last game against Philly, gave up 1 run. Against St. Louis, 6 innings, gives up 3 runs. Against Chicago Cubbies, 5 innings, gives up 1 run. So he's pretty good he had 1 bad out in KC. He gave 3 2/3. He gave up 9 hits and 8 runs. And that's really the outlier. So if you take that out, he's probably, 1.5, 2. So, yeah. So let's go with the Mets. New York Mets. And we'll go 5 units on that one. Maybe Bobby's playing in that game. He's either there or at Pittsburgh. I don't know. He ain't here. That's all we know. All right. Oakland and KC, the Chiefs and the Raiders. Good football game. The Chiefs 175-9 in Kansas City. J.P. Sears 3-2 with a 3.96 against Brady Singer 3-2 with a 2.84. So pretty good pitching. Let's see what J.P. Sears 3.96. J.P. From the Citadel. I always like that college. This guy goes 6 innings just about most of the time, sometimes 5. So you're going to get the bullpen here. He had against Baltimore, he gave up 7 runs, against Detroit 4, against Cleveland 5, against Texas 4, and then you throw in a 1, a 0, 0, 1, 0. So he's either all that or none of that. Kansas City, he hasn't faced them this year. Let's say Houston and Texas. So Texas, he gives up 4 runs, Houston 1. Baltimore gave up 7 runs, but then he shuts out the Yankees. So go figure out this guy. We don't know who the hell we're getting with this guy. All right, JP. Very inconsistent against Brady Singer. Let's look at the Mr. Singer. 3-2 with a 2.84. He's pitched a lot. He gave up 5 runs to Toronto and 4 runs to Seattle and 1 the rest of the way. And he's pitched a lot. So this guy should be good. So let's go KC. We'll take the Chiefs. Now, it's hard to go. Let's see the bad. Oakland, I think, can't hit. They hit 223. Decent bullpen, which you're going to get today because the starter can't go more than 5 innings. And Kansas City, which hits 240 with a better. So KC's the better team. Let's go KC. 5 units. We're having fun today. Probably under 9, but you don't know what JP Sears you're getting. I mean, he either shuts you out or gives up. He either shuts you out or gives up 6 runs. So that's not what we want. We want consistency. Brady Singer's been better. They're at home. They hit better. They got a better bullpen. So go KC, beat Navy, 5 units. Milwaukee, Houston, our lock yesterday. Justin Verlander comes through, and he loses, but he comes through because the Milwaukee pitcher was just as good with 2 low ERAs, and we got the under we wanted. But not today. We got Colin Ray from Milwaukee, 3-1 with a 3.45 against Spencer Spaghetti, 1-4 with a 7.52. Why is this guy in the major leagues, you ask me, and I say, I have no fucking idea. Spencer Spaghetti, 1-4. Well, all right, it was a low-scoring game yesterday. Ain't going to be low-scoring today. Well, Houston's favorite, so let's go Milwaukee. And we'll go 5 units on that. 3, 4, 5. Maybe we'll go over 8.5. It's hard to say how you hit after facing Verlander. I think anybody looks good. Milwaukee and Houston. Milwaukee hits 250. And Houston hits 260. Yeah, let's go over. Let's change this to Milwaukee over 8.5. And we'll make it to 5 units. With Spencer Spaghetti, Milwaukee should get 5, 6 runs. We need 8.5. Houston should be able to score on Colin Ray. So, okay. Pitt and the Cubbies. Mitch Keller, 4-3 with a 3.93 against Jamison Talon for the Cubbies. 3-1 with a 1.61. Out of Florida. Come on. So he didn't start till April 19th and pitches 5. He's gone 7 against the JETSs. He was good until the last game. The last game, he pitched 4 innings, gave up 7 runs. Before that, against Houston and Milwaukee and the Mets and Miami, gives up 1 run, 0 runs. So what you going to do, Hulk Hogan fans? I don't know. Let's say he had a bad outing because most of his are pretty good. Talon, Mitch Keller. What did we have yesterday? We had the Cubbies, and they won like 1-0 or 2-1. And this guy goes, he pitched 9 innings in California. Gave up 5 hits and 1 run. Wow, actually somebody pitched 9 innings. I'm so excited. Now this is a guy trending the other way. He starts off giving up 5 runs, then 2-2, then 4-4. And then it's been 3-1-0-0. Oh, 3-1-0. So the last 2 outings was 1-0 against California and Milwaukee, especially a 9-inninger against California. But they're all hurt. They suck anyway. I was watching California. Texas was the game of the week or whatever. Only Tony Kubek and Kurt Gowdy weren't doing it. They used to do it when I was a kid in the I guess the 60s and the 70s. It'd be really cool because you would just see like I'm in Detroit, so you just see American League. And all of a sudden they'd have like Cincinnati and the Dodgers on, and you'd see Joe Morgan and Pete Rose and I don't know about Koufax at that point, but you would see, Johnny Bench. I mean, that was in 68. So yeah, you would see some like Clemente and you go, wow, that's what he looks like. So this guy, his last 2 performances have been good. That's not enough. As we talked about statistics, I don't have enough on Mitch Keller because early he sucked. Lately, he's gotten better against, Milwaukee's pretty good against California. So I don't know what to do with this guy because he's not. Let's go Chicago Cubbies. And Talon, and that'll be 5 units. We're like 5 units, everybody. Again, I have the confidence, so I feel, I can bet it. I don't know. Versus, I lose every game, and then you're like, oh shit, I better not play. And I just find one. It's weird how outcome affects confidence, affects your next event. So if I go play poker and I just lose $300, my confidence is shaky, even though I know how to play and I'm very good at it and I win a lot. That's why I quit a winner, because it doesn't fuck with my confidence. So in other words, if I'm playing poker, I win $50. Okay. I won. My confidence is, I can go back. I can win at it. Right. I just happen to win 50 instead of 500, but maybe next time I'm confident I won because I just did. If you go and lose 300, your confidence is not that strong. Psychologically, you're like, oh shit, I lost 300. That, I'm not sure. Well, look at Rounders, right? You see him in the beginning and he loses 30 grand. He quits. He doesn't play for months, for years. He doesn't play. I'm retired. Well, you're not retired, Matt Damon, but look how it affected him when he lost the 30 grand. He stopped playing. Had he won the 30 grand at the end, he wins the 30 grand back, and all of a sudden he's, oh yeah, I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to, so look how the outcome affects your confidence. So because we had a great day yesterday, and we're like, yeah, let's play this for 5 and that. So we do have methods to our madness that make sense why we're making the bet. We're not just betting, but everything like here, Talon 3-1 with a 1-6-1 against Keller, 4-3 with a 4. Most of his games he gives up 4 or 5 runs. So you're like, okay. And Talon's 3-1 with a 1-6-1. So it's not exactly that's the logic. So it makes perfect sense. California and Texas. What a boring game. I watched a little of it. I'm falling asleep. I go back to watching Rounders or whatever I was watching. Texas minus 155, 8.5. We got Jose Soriano, 1-4 with a 3.72 against Michael Lorenzen, 2-2 with a 3.75. I'm going under in this game. I'm not betting it, but both teams suck. They couldn't hit yesterday. They don't hit, and California is a 240 team, but they got a lot of injuries. Texas 250. So you'd think there should have been runs yesterday, right? And it goes into the 12th or 13th. I am sorry. This extra innings start with the guy on second is fucking ridiculous. It is not a game that you give somebody second base. You earn it. You're trying to hit the pitcher. It's all about hitting the pitcher to get on base or getting a walk or getting hit or an error. It is not you go take second. I think it ruins the game. I think it's just absolutely bush league and absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I'm sorry. I played. I don't get it. And I'm sure Bobby has the same feelings. I know we've talked about it, that you don't just give the guy second base, especially in extra inning. We're trying to finish the game. Then don't have extra innings. Just play 9 innings. Why don't we play 3 innings? Then we'll get down in a half hour. Or let's make it sudden death, the first team that scores. So if you score in the top of the first inning, the game's over. I mean, it's insane. Why are you in a hurry to end the game? Because you fucked it up so much that people don't want to watch it. A good Lord of the Rings went 3.5 hours. It was a great movie. You didn't want it then. And so therefore, when you get a good movie, you don't want it then. When you get a shit movie, you don't watch it. So if baseball is good, you don't want it. Football, you don't need to shorten the game. I don't like what football does with overtime, that both teams need to touch the ball to make it fair. That's a bunch of bullshit. You played 60 minutes. That's it. You've had your chances. And if the game's tied 10-10, first team that scores wins. You don't, you got to, Joey's team's got to have the ball. So it's fair. It's not a fair thing. It's bullshit. It's sudden death overtime, right? You get 10-10. Look at the greatest game, the Baltimore Giant 58. Could you imagine? The United, they scored, they win, game's over. That's why it was the greatest game. So could you imagine that? Well, wait, we gotta let the Giants have the ball now. What the hell is that? The other thing I want to bitch about, you got instant replay in baseball now and basketball. It's ridiculous. This whole instant replay thing Kind of reminds me of AI. It's a bunch of bullshit. So I'm watching the end of the basketball game, and the guy gets fouled. And they say, well, he hit the ball first, and then he crushed his arm. That's a foul. You can't hit the guy. Yeah, but if you hit the ball first, what are you talking about? He hits the ball, then he hits the arm. It's a foul. They're trying to say, well, if you release the ball, then it's not a foul. It's a foul. You still hit the guy. It's still a foul. And you got to replay it? Why are you replaying that? I thought that was ridiculous. I can see replaying, was he out of bounds or not? But then why do we have refs? And if the ref makes the call that it's a foul, it's a foul. It ended up being a foul, as it should have been. But the fact that he hit the ball first should have no bearing, So I can hit the ball and then tackle you and basically, well, I hit the ball first, so therefore it's no. I thought that was stupid. And even worse is they go to a replay on it. Okay, what the fuck are they doing? And the same thing in baseball. Or no, what was it? No, I think the basketball one. So I want to talk about baseball. You have the replay of, is the guy safe or out at first? Again, that's ridiculous. That should never be a replay. You have an ump, and the ump made the call. That's it. Otherwise, we don't need umps, right? If the ump at first, who's 5 feet away, cannot correctly call if he's safe or out, get a new ump. But if he calls him out, he's out. If he calls him safe, he's safe. If he makes a mistake, who gives a fuck? That's part of it. Well, you ruin the game. You ruin the emotion when you then, at the end of the basketball game, was it a foul? Well, you're ruining the emotion. It was. The guy made the 2 free throws, and Dallas wins by 1 because he was fouled. I mean, it's just insane. All right. So we went under Texas in 8.5. Colorado against the 49ers. I think the Niners have been roughing them up. Colorado came in with a 7-game win streak, and Frisco said, not on my watch. Frisco's a big favorite, 200, over under 7.5. Dakota Fanning, 1-6 with the 6-1-3 against Jordan Hicks, 3-1 with the 2-4-4. Not even close. Take San Francisco. And we're going to go 5 units on this game. Well, I can't help it. A 2-4-4 against a 6-1-3. And Frisco's been hot. Go Frisco. Cincinnati and the Dodgers. Hunter Green for Cincinnati. 2-2 with the 3-2-7. Yamatutu for the Dodgers. 4-1 with the 3-2-1. I'm going to go under here. LA under 8.5, but I'm not playing it. Detroit, Arizona. Detroit's been kicking Arizona's ass the last 2 games. We got Arizona, big favorite. Matt Manning, 0-1 with the 4-3-7. Jordan Montgomery, 2-2 with the 4-7-6. Detroit's been hitting. We're going to go over here. Arizona over 8.5, and we're not betting that. And the last game, San Diego, Atlanta. It was rained out. Darvish again, 3-1 with the 2.43%. We're going to go San Diego. And this will be a 5 unit. So let's review. NBA, we're leaving the Knicks game alone because of the injury to one of their players. Otherwise, we would take the Knicks at home, game 7. We are taking Denver minus the 4.5 in game 7 at home, must win. Games against the back, they've been 3-0 with the game backs against the wall. Both teams have back against the wall, must win. I put it on Denver. Minnesota, when they had to win, didn't do it in game 5. Or no, they did it in game 6, but they didn't do it in game 5 when they really needed to. So go Denver, beat Navy, 5 unit. Then we get the baseball. We like Boston. We like Baltimore. We like the Yankees. We like Washington. Tampa over 8. Cleveland over 7.5. The JETSs. Kansas City, Milwaukee over 8.5. The Cubbies, Texas under 8.5. The 49ers, the Dodgers under 8.5. Arizona over 8.5, and San Diego. The picks: Baltimore 5 units, Washington 5 units, Tampa over 8.5, over 8, 10 units, Cleveland over 7.5, 10 units, probably the strongest play on the board. The JETSs 5, Kansas City 5, Milwaukee over 8.5, 5. The Cubbies 5, Frisco 5, and San Diego 5. So I did leave out a few games, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. I had 8 yesterday, went 7-1, so I'm feeling very confident. And a lot of these plays, the overs, Tampa and Cleveland, I love them. There's such low overs. Kansas City's got their ace going. Milwaukee over 2 fourth. Number 4 picks, Cubs with a good pitcher. The Niners, good pitcher. San Diego, Hugh Darvish. So you've got the good play in the week, which is Art of War, which is what we like. So that is today's baseball, and it's 12 o'clock, so you have time. There's no 12 o'clock Peacock team. I hate that. Oh, let's have a game at 10. Everybody's going to wake up and watch that. What a joke. I'm so sick of this Peacock and this Prime, and just, it's weird because NBC and ABC and CBS and Fox are already paying for the games. So now you're taking money away from them by saying, yeah, we're going to have it on Amazon Prime or YouTube or Netflix or whatever the hell you have it on. And it's costing you viewers because people nobody's going to pay for Amazon. I shouldn't say nobody, but to watch college football game, Ohio State against Temple, are you really going to pay? Do you really need to watch the game and are you going to pay it? I mean, you can watch the game on YouTube after 20 minutes. They have the highlights. It's going to be a 50-point win. What do you need to watch it for? And the other part is you got 5 games going on. So you can flip. Oh, there's the Notre Dame going on. There's the Michigan game. Oh, USC's playing. Oh, and you can go right down and you can watch 5 games at once. Why do you want to be on Amazon Prime? Greg and John, the NFL is putting games on Netflix. Yeah, Christmas I heard, which is fine. That I don't mind because I actually have Netflix, so I'll be able to watch them. But I really hate when they're on the NFL Network. The NFL Network should be pissed. Here's the NFL Network, and you're putting games on Amazon Prime. What is that all about? Wait a minute. I'm the NFL Network. I paid you to put games on me. What do you mean you're going to Amazon? What are we going? The first game, the Eagles and Green Bay, is in Brazil. What are you, insane? Why would you do that? Oh, is there a big NFL fans in Brazil? All of a sudden they watch the game, they're going to buy what? A lot of jerseys? And you're screwing up your players by making them travel to Brazil for a game. Then they got to come back. And it's week 1. And they're not ready anyway because of preseason. So it's not good. So anyway, so those are the games. And NFL, we went over Friday, week 1. We can, go over it again. But if you want to look at my picks for week 1, you can go to the Friday episode. I'm guessing the quarterbacks. Interested to see what's going on. I've updated my quarterback list. I do not have Drake May or J.J. McCarthy even starting. I got Nick Mullins. See, they're like J.J. McCarthy against Sam Darnold. Isn't Nick Mullins still on Minnesota? He's better than both of them. I mean, if J.J. McCarthy can't beat out Sam Darnold, there's what a wasted pick you have. And then you have You got Brissett and Zappi over Drake May. I mean, there's no way Drake May's better than those two. So they'll probably start Brissett. So that's what you got to be careful of, who the quarterback's going to be. If you bet on Caleb, you're out of your freaking minds, okay? Now, will Caleb surprise us? I doubt it. But let's say he does. Okay, let's see him for the first 5 games. And if they're averaging 30 points a game, maybe we can start betting the Bears. But for that to happen, it's a 0% possibility. Okay? There's no freaking way that he will succeed on the Bears. First of all, they don't have a good coach or offensive coordinator. They got the guy, I think he's from Seattle. Seahawks didn't have a good offense. So take that into account. Let's see. So, been watching some brics, and Mark McGuire had his yesterday, which I wrote down. He makes it like silver's going to explode, but then he doesn't talk about it. One thing I learned from him, he says China's been suppressing the silver price for like 10 years. Well, that's the first I've heard of that. It's JP Morgan and COMEX have been doing it, and he's trying to say, well, COMEX or JP Morgan's working for China, as an agent for China. Now, what I have said is that the reason you keep the price down is to buy it. So apparently what's been happening is China has been keeping the price down because they need it to make stuff. So they keep the price low, but now there's no more supply. India needs it for solar panels and stuff they're doing, as does China. So the demand for the silver is now high. And because India is in it and really overtaken China, they now have India's buying it. So China is keeping the price down for India, and they don't want that. So the price should start exploding because of India now. So I always thought China was behind price fixing of gold and silver, and I am right. And that, but now here, India is the fly in the ointment. So China can't keep the price because India's demand is so high. So we can look at that. I did like Mark McGuire, or I really didn't like Alligator. He's becoming more of a banker, not an economist. So he really doesn't know a lot. He made a comment in his video that it's the China's not buying gold, they're selling dollars. Well, if they're selling dollars to buy gold, they are buying gold. What is he talking about? And he keeps saying it's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down. Well, then why did gold go up to 24.14 if it's not, the dollar is already gone? So let's take a look at a little bit of of Alligator, but I'm this guy's really he really doesn't, I'm starting to lose interest on him. Okay, so we start at the 10-minute mark.
Exchange control stuff and all the rest of it in the way. But one thing you can do is to buy what the central bank is buying as it sells those dollars. Because you can see that the central bank has still got a hell of a lot of dollars to get rid of. And if you look at the government, I mean, they've got something like...
Talking about China.
The total dollar position is it's going to be in the trillions. But of that, roughly 700 billion is invested in US treasuries. So they'll be seeing those as well. The idea that the US government can fund itself with the aid of foreigners, that's going away. That's not going to happen. I mean, it really isn't. The largest identifiable holder of U.S. treasuries is a seller of dollars. So they're not going to be buying treasuries. That is for sure.
No, we know that.
I think answers your question, Daryl.
Yeah, look, what I find intriguing is that so Chinese financial education is obviously much better than ours. I was watching TV the other day because I watch a bit of mainstream media just to see what's going on and what they're saying. And there was a lady there by the name of Effie Varhos, who comes across as a very pleasant lady, but she's a financial expert. That's the way she's always introduced. And she has 3 or 4 minutes each day, each morning, to convey a message to the audience. But she never talks about gold, never talks about precious metals. I'll talk about real estate, stocks, bonds, all that sort of stuff, but never gold. Interestingly enough, she was talking about Mother's Day. And they said, what would you like for a Mother's Day present? You know what she said? Oh, a gram of gold would be nice. First time I've ever heard her mention it. Never when it's fine.
See how stupid this guy is. Well, on mainstream media, they don't talk about gold because they don't get commission on it. So the one thing he said about the Chinese people is, why are they buying gold? So all the people in China are buying gold, right? 20,000 tons of it. The common people. Now, there's a couple reasons. One, they don't trust the stock market. 2, the real estate market crashed. So if you do have money in China, where are you going to go? You don't trust the banks. So you can't trust the banks, the stocks, or the housing market. There's only one place to put it, which is gold. Now, they're smart enough because the Chinese government has told them it's safe, we'll keep the value high, to buy the gold. So that's why they're buying the gold, but only in China. And that leads to, like, the U.S., the education is ridiculous here. Nobody, if I bring up gold, people look at me like I'm from Mars. And I just roll my eyes and say, well, when the dollar runs to zero, and don't come to me for gold, because I ain't going to help you. I'm trying to help you, but if you're disrespecting me, then forget about it. So China's regular people are buying, have savings accounts, I guess, with gold in them, where they're buying gold. And his other point, Alligator's point, was that they have U.S. dollars they're trying to get rid of. So why would they buy more? So if the U.S. needs people to buy their treasuries, nobody's going to do it because they know that the jig's up. They're not worth anything. They'll never get paid back. So that's what the point is. It's that nobody's going to buy them because they're not worth anything. And they're trying to get rid of them and buy gold. So basically that's what you take out of it is, if the Chinese aren't buying, they want to get out of the dollars, and they're worried about these sanctions, which is the killer of the dollar, because you did it to Russia, you did it to China. You might do it to Japan or Indonesia, South Korea. These other big countries you're going to do it to, they're not going to be happy. So that's really what you have. That's why you're getting out of the dollar. Well, wait a minute. It's like if I go to a restaurant and they serve crappy food and my friends are saying, oh, the food's crap there. Why would I go eat there, right? So I don't want the dollar because it's worthless. I saw one lady had, with Lynette Zhang, she's clueless. She says, oh, the dollar's like worthless or something. And I'm like, really? Yeah, I've only said that about a year ago. Like, I love when these people watch my video and then they try to say it like it's theirs. Pisses me off. All right. Let's go to 24.
Yes, I mean, if you're going to create more debt, the only buyer out there has got to be the Fed. So that's, so monetizing the debt, what does that do to the dollar? Well, I can tell you one thing. It will accelerate the selling of the dollar. But guess what? Another currency? No, it'll be for gold. And so I think these times it's rather like an inflection point, if you like, as far as precious metals are concerned. I think there's a gradual awakening in foreign markets about the fragility of the Western financial system, the fiat currency system. We were talking about, Chinese individuals maybe not quite realizing that, but there is definitely in China a greater recognition amongst, let's say, the sort of economically literate or the financially literate about the dangers of a debt trap and the problems that the US government are going to have funding that debt, and the alternative being effectively printing the money, which is what happens when you get QE. So, the foreigners are beginning to understand it. And, of course, the last people to understand it are the people living in the countries affected. I mean, the ordinary American doesn't understand it. I have this problem here, talking to people about this thing. I mean, I've almost given up talking to them. But, they just don't grasp the concept that the currency actually has nothing behind it. It is not tied to it. You need to anchor that currency to a value, and that has been the role of money, which is gold, silver, copper, whatever. I mean, but times it is gold more than the other two. So people in Australia, people in America, they are the last to understand what's happening to their currency. They will hold on to their currency. They will see things going horribly wrong. They will see prices rising, not realizing that it's not the prices of goods rising, but it's the purchasing power of their dollars, their pounds, their euros, their yen going down. This is an education process which only gets resolved over time, effectively. I just hope we can push people along a little bit to be a little bit ahead of the curve and understand what is actually happening in this context.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm trying to do. Now, thinking a lot about it, well, this is the way I'm trying to help is this class or just doing these videos. And what happens is it'd be like saying something in your car doesn't work. You're not an engineer. You have no idea how the car works. There's an engine and a transmission, and there's a gas, and there's a battery, and there's brakes, and there's a steering wheel. But you don't really understand what makes it go, except putting gas. So to put the gas in, and that's it. You don't know to do certain things, right? And with the dollar, you don't know what to ask. And if you do, how are you going to figure it out? You haven't been taught it. So you go through your life and there's always been money and it's the government's money. And you go, well, why would the government mislead us? Like 9/11. So you have this whole problem with the people not wanting to hear their money's worthless, right? Joey goes and saves his money, has 300 grand in the bank, puts it in Amazon stock and Microsoft. I'm ready to retire. I'm fine. Joey doesn't want to hear the stock market's going to crash. He doesn't want to hear his money's worthless. Greg and John just brought up Bank of America is closing many banks. Now, I don't know if it's branches, but you'll still be able to go to the ATM or what? In other words, if you get a direct deposit in the Bank of America, is everything working? They're just closing the physical branches. By the way, Bank of America, you have a safety deposit box in one of those banks, you're fucked because you won't be able to go in and get it out because it's closed. Do not leave your safety deposit at a bank because you won't be able to get it. It's not like, oh, we're going to open up so Sam can get his gold out of his safety deposit box. No, that's why you can't leave it there. Buy a safe for the house. Maybe one of these U-Haul things where when you're moving, there's there's like a locker you can rent or buy. I guess you rent it so much a month and stick it in there in a safe or something where only you can get into it. I think that's the only way to do it. I don't think you can sit there with your, you don't want to leave money in the bank. Anyway, it's this lack of education. What do I try to teach you? How to bet baseball, how to bet football, back against the wall for basketball playoff series. This is what I'm teaching you, but you don't know it until I tell you. Now you go around going, oh shit, yeah, backs against the wall. It works 9 out of 10 times. What a great insight I've just learned. That's what I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to do it in gold and silver also. So you have to, but if you don't know it and you don't think about it, most guys are looking at the matchup. Well, look at Denver and Minnie. Look at the matchup. Da 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 da. Got nothing to do with it. It's all how hard are the guys going to play? How badly do they need the game? And if one team needs it more than the other, they're going to win. And that's what you saw with the other game on Indy -5.5 over the Knicks. They needed the game. They won the game. Or Minnesota against Denver on the 16th. They needed the game. They won by 45 points. So with gold, I don't know what it is that people dislike or don't trust about gold, or they think their dollar is good. I don't agree with Mark McGuire or with Alligator here saying, well, the people in the country don't know, or we're the last to know. I don't think it's that. We use dollars because that's all we need in the U.S., as he uses pounds in Britain. So you get the money, you go to the store, you use it. So it's how do you tell people your dollar's no good anymore when they can go get paid, go work, get paid, go to the grocery store, buy steaks, pay your rent, pay your utilities. How do you sit there and say it's not worth anything? Yeah, right. I just went to the grocery store. Until you can't go to the grocery store. Like I told Bobby's daughters, it's good until it runs out, but gold won't run out. We're looking into the future. We're 5-6 steps ahead. We're not looking at today. We're looking at tomorrow. So with that said, people just don't understand. And people, the nature is they're afraid. Look at Daria. She's scared of going to the dentist. All right, she goes for implants. Everything works out. She needs more implants, and she's scared to go. You just did it. Well, I'm scared to go. Okay, that's most of the people are not stoic and are scared. So if you tell them the money's worthless, you're hitting the emotional nerve of, what do you mean it's worthless? What do? You create a panic. They don't know. Buy gold. Well, I can't use gold at the grocery store. See, that's the Bobby's child mentality. How am I going to use gold at the grocery store? Well, I bought the gold. I'm not using it at the grocery store, but when the dollar runs out, I'm way ahead. I'm in the lifeboat. So when the Titanic's crashing, Bobby's daughter would say, well, why are we going in the lifeboat? Why don't we just stay on the boat? Because the boat's sinking, and you need to find a lifeboat to stay, to not drown. This is sinking, and this is our lifeboat. And that's what you got to understand. So it's not really for today, it's for tomorrow that you're buying the gold, because they can't print the gold. The gold can't lose its value. And it's the only money that can't lose its value, because the dollar and this euro both are printed to death and worthless, as is the British pound, Swiss franc, all the other currencies. Look at Zimbabwe, look at Brazil, look at Argentina, look at Venezuela, Greece, on and on and on. But look what Zimbabwe did. They came out with a gold-backed currency. Why? Why is BRICS going to do a gold-backed currency? Why? Why would they do it? If the dollar worked, then why would they come out with a gold-backed currency? Right. So just think about what you see, right? They're coming out of the gold backed currency because, and the gold price is going up and all the central banks are buying gold. Why? Why are they doing that? Because you can't print gold. So he's getting as frustrated trying to teach people, not realizing you're missing the whole psychological point. As in what we look at in basketball, where a team's down 3-2 and they must win. They must win or they're eliminated. And that is what people have to get with gold. You must buy it or you're eliminated. Your money's worthless. But nobody wants to believe it. Nobody wants to get scared. I got my money I got 300 grand. I got 500 grand. I got money in Microsoft and Amazon. I got 500 grand in stock and those. Why would I worry? I've got money. But they don't realize the money is worthless. See, that's the problem, is how do you identify and tell them the money's worthless? I tell you why. I say because there's $20.7 trillion printed and $130 trillion printed overseas. So I'm helping you with that. So you understand. That's the why. So you should go, the light came on. Let's go buy gold, which I know our class does. And when I go to the gold store, I get that where people are understanding it and going from there. So that's what we're trying to do. Is we see that there's a big forest fire coming, the dollar collapsing. We see the Titanic. We know it's going to sink. Let's keep it Titanic. We know the boat's going to sink because the water's coming in. And we're saying, get on the lifeboat, the boat's sinking. And everybody on the boat's not believing us. They're going, it's unsinkable. It can't sink. It's a big boat. It can't sink. It's too big to fail. And so the problem is how do you convince the people on the boat that it's sinking? How do you convince the people holding dollars that it's worthless? And they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear the dollars worthless. They don't want to hear the Titanic sinking. They just want to ignore it all because they are scared to death. They're scared that the dollar is worthless. But what do they do with the fear? They ignore it. They'd rather ignore the fear than listen to it. That's like the Gambler movie with James Caan. He says George Washington he hated fear the most. He'd rather avoid the fear. And that's what I think people are. They'd rather avoid the fear than face it. That's the problem, right? People would rather ignore that the dollar's worthless and save themselves with the gold, but they'll do it at the end once they see, it's like they've got to see the boat. Oh shit, the boat's 3/4 underwater. I guess it is sinking. Now I got to run to the lifeboat. So they have to see it. And they don't see the dollar collapsing, even though they go to the grocery store and everything's more expensive. Gas is more expensive. Everything's more, go buy a house. Interest rates are up. But in their mind, it's easier. Until they see it, they won't react to it. So it's easier for them to just ignore it. And they don't understand that when the prices go up, it's because the dollar is losing value, not necessarily that Hunt's Ketchup's raising their price. It's that the dollar is dropping, so it costs more to buy the ketchup. So people think that all the companies are raising their prices. They don't realize the dollar's going down. And that's the most critical part, is the dollar's losing value. That's why I don't look at the price index. The CPI does not measure inflation, right? I've told you that. I've showed you that. A Pepsi was 10 cents in 1971, is $2.50. It's the same Pepsi. And gold was $37, is now $2,400. It's the same ounce of gold. So that's really what the point is. People they don't know. They don't want to know. They don't want to be scared. And then at the last minute, the panic will come in, and they'll realize, oh shit, we're fucked. And that's why gold will go to 50,000 an ounce before the dollar goes away, is because of that panic time when people realize the dollar's worthless. They don't realize it now. They're fooled into believing the prices are going up, but they don't understand the why. Right. And that's where we're at. All right. Back to, let's see, 31.
Going into an office, working 50 hours a week, having that structure.
Because the bankers don't want it. They don't want to take it on their balance sheets. If, let us say, the property company defaults. Offices are empty. People are working from home, or they're not working full stop. The whole thing has just gone horribly wrong. All this property was being financed at suppressed interest rates. That suppression is alleviated somewhat, and we've returned to something a bit more realistic. It is going to go higher because, as I point out, the bankers are trying to control their risk, which means that they're going to ration credit. They don't ration it for the government, incidentally, because the regulator says that government debt is the highest form of credit and the least risk. So you have no haircut on that. So all you've got is duration risk. So it all ends up short-term financing for the government. And so they're in the T-bill market, for example, just rolling over 3-month T-bills or 6-month T-bills. Perhaps for a few adventurous banks, they're looking at 1-year T-bills, but they will just go for the maximum yield along that bit of the curve, which really is about 3 or 6 months. And that's the only way governments can fund themselves when it comes to continuing to support the zombies. This is a train wreck rapidly approaching. It really is. I'm always too early on these things, I'll admit that. But I'm finding it very difficult to see how we're going to get out of this year, 2024, intact. And by that, I mean intact with currencies that still have any value left in them. So as to your point about buying gold, well, I would say, first of all, it's selling Australian dollars. You need to get out of credit and get into real money, I think, as a degree of urgency. That is my view, anyway, looking at everything. So there we are.
Well, actually, that Alice. His comments there really stole some of the part of it. What he said there was a response to the next question that I had, because I was going to be talking about commercial real estate exposure and what had happened with New York Community Bank, and the fact that
Be laughing. It's actually a very serious matter.
very curious here.
You can see that there is an awful lot of business in this country, in America, presumably in Australia too, where private equities. I mean, Macquarie is a big operator in the private equity field. These are pigeons coming home to roost. They really are. And then, of course, you've got the wider problem, Daryl, and that is that the banks collapse and the whole system's collapse is, if you like, financial assets, not only bonds, but equities and so on and so forth. You get rising interest rates. What happens to the values of those? They go down. You end up with equities with a bear market, and that bear market is going to be very severe. Of that, I absolutely no doubt. As far as bond prices are concerned, they will continue rising. Remember that Jamie Dimon reckoned 8% was possible, or even more. So what does that do to bond prices along the yield curve? I mean, it collapses them in effect. So the whole situation, as far as the financial system is concerned, is turning into one that is virtually impossible to rescue us from. without collapsing the currency. So it's not just the real estate, commercial real estate. I mean, in terms of zombie corporations, remember that this sort of zombie problem just increases year after year after year, so long as you interest rates suppressed. Because the whole idea of suppressing interest rates is so that you don't get unemployment, you don't get businesses going out, you don't get the enterprises going out of business, companies, corporations, whatever.
See, he's wrong there. That's the Keynesian view. Interest rates are to keep the economy working, and it causes a lot of problems because people make investments where they shouldn't because the interest rates are cheap. This is where he doesn't quite. This is where I lose him. He's wrong, and I have to say something, but that's not. Interest rates are not for unemployment. It's got nothing to do with it. Only in the Keynesian world, not in the real world. And so interest rates should be a free market, whatever the market dictates. If you have gold, you need a very low interest rate, maybe 1%, because the dollar is not going to fluctuate. So if you see that the economy is slowing down, you lower interest rates to get the economy working. We talked about that in my trade cycle, which I'll be happy to share with you again. And when the economy is really too hot, they raise interest rates to try to lower it. And that's where they think the inflation is prices and everything. So he's wrong here. It's to stimulate the economy because they're trying to manage the economy and just let the market run it.
It's prevented. And so you've got this huge, great build-up, if you like, of inefficient businesses which have got to go bust. And the whole collateral that is behind the system is also going to go down in value. I mean, this is a train wreck like we've never seen before.
If you want to feel your energy levels skyrocket, you've got to try out.
Hey, why do they have these stupid commercials?
Paints a very bleak picture, doesn't it?
It does. And I mean, you and I have been in business, not just with as good as gold, but
What are these two guys doing
we're
here?
in manufacturing, and we saw the writing on the wall here in Australia. We don't have a manufacturing business anymore, especially automotive, simply because of the challenges and the problems that government put their hands into all the time.
It's all gone to India.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to do one more question, and then I'm going to hand it back to Daryl. So, Alistair, now we've talked a lot about gold. We always talk a lot about gold, and then gold is money. We can't emphasize this as much as we do. Gold is money. But let's talk a little bit about silver.
It's for you, Luke.
It's been recorded by the Silver Institute that we will see the second highest demand for silver in 2024 this year. And yet the price for 2024 is being bounced around at around about $30 US an ounce. Now, at the moment, my last I saw it about 5 hours ago at about $28.50. But don't you think it should be more around $50 an ounce? And I'll get back to that in a minute.
$1,000 an ounce.
Considering the demand coming out of India. Now, I recognize that 50 US dollars, it's just a figure. What's the price of a US dollar? What is the value of a US dollar? Look, in my opinion,
Nothing.
an ounce of silver should be, if you want to talk US dollars, should be 250. But let's bring it down to $50.
$1,000.
Reached $50 twice before. They're talking about $30. $30 for an ounce of silver, for crying out loud.
All right, before we get okay, so here's the problem. This guy doesn't understand paper silver, and it's all price fixed. I don't get how somebody running a finance type of business does not know paper silver. I mean, this blows my mind that people think that's the real price. I mean, there's paper and there's physical. And he's talking paper. But he doesn't know he's talking paper. How can this guy do this show and not understand it doesn't matter the demand at India or not? it's not affecting the price. The price is fake, is dedicated by the derivative market by JP Morgan. They're running the derivatives, keeping the price low. So therefore, the demand from India, China, or Timbuktu doesn't matter for the price of silver. It's not going to go over because there's demand, because that's not how the price mechanism works. It's not like eBay, as I show you. What I get on eBay for this card is the market price, and I'm going to get the true. If somebody gives me $1,000 for it, it's $1,000. But that's not what silver is. Silver is derivative paper pushed down. The $30, well, we just saw it hit 31, is fantasy. Just like gold 2,400 is fantasy, silver 31 is fantasy. Would I give you $2,000? That's the real number, and that's a conservative estimate of what it should be based on the limited, based on all the people needing it for solar and car batteries, and that it's money also. So the value is much, much higher. They're keeping it down. Like I said, Tomahawk missiles, they need 500 ounces of silver in each missile. So the government wants to keep the price down so they can build the Tomahawks. Now, there was a question in the comments about, well, do we need to keep the price of silver down so we can make this stuff? And the answer is no. They'll have to use a different material. Why don't they use gold? Gold never wears out because it's too expensive. So they go to silver. And if silver's too expensive, they'll go to zinc, or they'll go to copper or lead or some other material that's cheaper. But that's why silver's held down, so they can make this bullshit. All right. So again, how does this guy not know it's paper silver? What the fuck is he doing on this? All right.
It's chips. So considering this and the demand that now you've mentioned in one of your Substack articles, the demand coming out of India is ferocious. I want to know your points here, Alistair. I mean, the history of this is that China has been, in my view, controlling the price for a very long time. And I first discovered this when I spoke at a conference in New York. I think it was over 10 years ago now, because there were a lot of silver companies exhibiting at this conference. And so I made a point. I mean, this was at the time that, you had, sort of people who've been following silver and all the rest of it. And, they reckoned that JP Morgan were involved in the suppression of the price. And
it is.
Blythe Masters, was seen as the evil witch, all this sort of stuff. And well, let's, I want to try and get to the bottom of this and understand what's going on, because Blythe Masters, just before this conference, had actually come out and said that JP Morgan did not run principal positions in, other than market making in silver. And everybody accused her of being a liar.
I don't know who this woman is.
I know enough about, being in the financial business that if you're an important person like Blythe Masters, head of the JP Morgan's commodity.
Oh, yeah. So she's going to tell the truth. Yeah.
For her to actually stand up and make a lie was completely preposterous. She would not have lied. It is as simple as that.
Yeah, like the government wouldn't lie about 9/11.
As to what actually was JP Morgan's role in this, there was no doubt that they had a role. But what was it? So I went round all the people exhibiting, silver miners exhibiting at this conference, and they all came up with the same response to my question. And my question basically was, when you have mined the ore, tell me what happens from there. And they said, well, we turn it into doré, which is like sort of, it's sort of on-site crushed, and you end up with something which is probably 80 to 90% silver, and the rest is sort of weight stuff, and it needs then refining. And I said, okay, well, what happens from there? And the answer was that someone from Trafigura or Glencore comes along and makes an assessment. It gives a certificate, if you like, on the silver quantity of the doré. That allows the silver company to raise the funds to pay its expenses. Because obviously, if you're a silver exploration business, you're always it's always hand to mouth, in a sense, and you're looking at cash flows. A mine manager, his responsibility isn't maximizing, isn't sort of hoarding the output or anything like that. His responsibility is quite simple, and that is manage the cash flow of the mine and manage it effectively. So he then needs to fund, because that silver is going to go off. It's going to disappear, go and be refined. It's not going to be marketable until it's refined. So he needs finance. And at that stage, a bank like JP Morgan comes in. Now, I can see working with Trafigura or Glencore, you've got this sort of triangle. You've got producer, you've got assessor, you've got bank. You put those three things together. Now, next question is, where does that silver doré go to be refined? Well, the answer basically, and the mine managers couldn't really answer that one unanimously, but it was quite clear from their responses that the most likely place for it to go was China. China is also a producer of silver. So, in other words, China was using this as a means of building its own stockpile, strategic stockpile, if you like, of silver. And, we can see from the way silver demand has exploded recently that this was a very wise move by the Chinese. But from the Chinese point of view, they wanted to continue to build the stockpile. So their relationship with JP Morgan was to manage the price in such a way that the price was kept down and they could continue to increase their stockpile. So they controlled the price. JP Morgan was acting as an agent for the Chinese government.
Yeah, well, we know that.
Bank, in fact, that technically is the People's Bank, because the People's Bank has, under Chinese law, has a responsibility for gold and silver. JP Morgan wasn't taking a principal position in this. He was acting as an agent for the Chinese government, and presumably is still doing so. Now, so you can see that, this has sort of kept silver suppressed relative to gold. And this is reflected in the...
Well, so it is JP Morgan price fixing it for the Chinese, which is what I've said. You keep the price down and China wants to buy it. It's not a free market price. So what India is doing, buying it, doesn't get affected into the price. So we need to blow up COMEX, basically. And since they're running out of stock, China can't keep doing this. And that's what he's going to say. So anyway, this is what the problem is, right? China wants to buy it. JP Morgan, what the fuck are they doing? They're doing derivatives to keep the price down so China can buy it. What the fuck is wrong with JP Morgan?
The gold silver ratio, which I look at the moment, is 82 times. And it has been up briefly to something. When silver fell down to $9 or something, it briefly hit something like 112, 120. So this is, in a sense, it's completely mispriced, which sort of comes on to your point. But of course, this has now changed a bit, because the Indian economy is one that's taken on the running, if you like, in terms of expansion. Things are quieting down in China. China has moved, I think, from the initial stages of economic liberalization. And that's something which now India is benefiting from. Its economy has been growing at a pretty rapid rate, the sort of rate that we saw in China 15, 20 years ago. And part of that, of course, is they get more and more integrated into the global economy, with product being exported to everywhere. And one of the things which they are open to criticism on politically is they continue to open coal-fired power stations, for example. They are doing things which, from the environmentalist point of view, are very destructive for the environment. So they are not ESG compliant. This brings political pressure, if you like, onto India to come up with various means of offsetting this. And one of these is to increase production of photovoltaic cells. And so rather very much under government encouragement and I think subsidy, though I can't swear to that, large Indian businesses, which would be well connected with government, are expanding photovoltaic cell production. And one of the foremost companies is a big conglomerate called Reliance Industries. And it so happened that back in March, they commissioned the first phase of their photovoltaic cell production, which is a 5 gigawatt facility. The total will end up as 20 gigawatts. But, of course, they needed to get hold of the silver. So what do? Well, suddenly you start finding that from January this year,
chances are you have thought about it.
Oh, my God.
It took me quite a while of sifting through offers.
The standing to delivery on COMEX is just going absolutely crazy. And I haven't actually sort of calculated it recently, but something like 1,500 tons of silver has been stood for delivery on COMEX. I mean, this is a huge quantity.
More than that, it's over 2,000.
And I think that this is done to, if you like, these Indian companies like Reliance, who just can't get their silver elsewhere. So what we're seeing is that the control that China has imposed on the silver price for the last 20 odd years is now being eroded. They are now losing control of the silver price because of what India is doing. And this is happening at the same time as China in particular is selling dollars in order to buy gold. And other Asian nations are doing the same. So there's an element of moneyness, if I can invent a word, coming back into silver, which I think could well mean that not only does it outperform gold by sort of roughly nearly 2 times, which is the sort of volatility relationship, but I can see it actually having to correct that suppression, if you like, the suppression of price for the last 20 odd years by China. That could be quite traumatic. So anyone who wants to play catch up with precious metals could well consider using China as the route into gold, if you like. And what I would do under those circumstances is look to buy silver and at some stage, when it has risen significantly, then exchange it for gold, and you will get probably twice as much gold as you would if you just bought gold now. So silver, I think, is exceptionally interesting in that context, but this is an argument for people who know what they're doing, I would say.
Like us.
Who can understand the risks of getting into something which is more volatile. And it is a variation, if you like, on the pure argument that really you should get out of credit and get into gold. Except it's a variation. When you get out of, sort of a basic concept, then you do introduce additional risks, if you like, into what you're doing. But for those who know what they're doing, I think silver is a very, very interesting play.
Okay, so we know what we're doing. The reason silver is volatile because it's been held by JP Morgan. Once that blows up, silver will not be volatile. You're not going to profit take. You're not profit taking gold or silver because then the only answer is you get back on the Titanic. So why would I sell my silver to get this? You're not going to do it. It's stupid. So you're going to stay in silver and gold. Therefore, there's no volatility because nobody's going to profit take. The only reason you have volatility is China and JP Morgan are trying to keep the price down. So when it zooms up, because India makes an order, then they go and cut it down. Now we will see exactly this week. Silver hit 31 1/4. Where was the price dropping? So we'll see if it goes back to $29 on Monday and Tuesday, or it goes to 35. So, no surprise. We know JP Morgan price fixes gold and silver with their derivatives, which is why we call it paper gold and paper silver. It's not volatile in the free market. It's only volatile in the paper market. So once we blow up the paper markets, then it won't have any volatility. That's just hogwash. That's stupidity. That's them not knowing the difference between physical and paper. So in other words, with this card, so let's say I sell this card for $2,000. You think it's going back to $25? No. It's going to 3 or 4 or 5. It goes up. It doesn't go down in the free market. And that's what I'm looking at with gold and silver. They won't go down. We know what we're doing. I don't know who he thinks he's talking to, but for people that know what they're doing, well, if you're out of paper, you buy it, it's not going anywhere. The fact it's 31 is because it's not free market, and the fact that India has huge demand doesn't affect the price because it's not free market yet. That's what we're driving for. I think we're close to it in gold, where we'll have a free market. As far as silver, it's not a tier 1 asset, and it's not as easy to do, so they can still come up with derivatives to lower the price. But that's how the price is set, is these derivatives, and JP Morgan is getting paid by China. So JP Morgan doesn't care. They're just a bunch of, they're a bunch of mafia, basically. And they just, whoever they can sell to, they sell. Oh, China, you want us to get the price down? This is how much we need, and we'll be happy to. And so China's buying all this silver cheap. And it doesn't dawn on JP Morgan that it might come back to haunt us, just like the gold. Anyway, so that was Alligator yesterday. The two hosts are just, Larry Moe and Curly. Alligator is very disappointing in the fact that he is a banker and not an economist, but he makes a comment about economists that bankers do this, and economists think they can control the market with interest rates. That's not true. That's Keynesians, not Austrians. We want the market to control everything. I don't want anything. I want whatever I can get on eBay. That's the market. That's fine. That's what we want. We don't want it price fixed or controlled. So it's like China wants the Mahomes card for $5. So JP Morgan keeps the price of the Mahomes card at $5, even though it's worth $1,000, right? That's basically what silver is. They're keeping the price low so China can buy more cheap. And then, believe me, China will want the price to go up. How much is there and how much can go? And then as they need it, like COMEX doesn't have any more silver. And like Tesla went right to the mine. So they're starting to go to the mine. The miners are clueless. He was starting to explain that with the Dory and everything. They're just clueless. Why are you letting it go for such a cheap price? You're just trying to cover. You're looking at cash flow. Well, cash flow is about income. He doesn't even understand that. So in other words, the more I can make for it, the better my cash flow is. So why wouldn't I want to make $100 an ounce on silver instead of 30 an ounce? So the silver mines, I would assume they're extremely corrupt, and they get millions of dollars to keep the price low, is my guess, because they're not. How stupid are these guys, right? So yeah, we'll sell something we can get $1,000 an ounce for 30. Oh, okay, yeah. Good luck. So I think that's what's happening with the gold, with the silver mines, gold mines. They're selling it cheap because they're getting paid off to keep the price low for China and whatever. So China's behind all the price fixing, which we knew, and it's JP Morgan, who basically doesn't. They're just very corrupt people. And then the head of JP Morgan, we'll trust her. Oh my God, fucking Alligator. What are you, insane? Let's trust 9/11 was real. Yeah, 9/11 wasn't a gold robbery. No. It was really terrorists. Come on. Because the head of JP Morgan said so. Wonder how much JP Morgan made on 9/11. All right. So that was Mark McGuire. Haven't seen Egon. His buddy keeps talking. I saw this BRICS currency to replace the dollar. Well, we know what that is. That's going to a gold back system, and then everybody has a choice, that dollar or gold, and everybody will choose gold. We've talked about that a lot. It's just funny, with BRICS is Britain, it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, it's like I'm sick of it. We get it. If we really want to know what BRICS is, we can go on Google and go, what's BRICS? And we can see the countries. But why do you have to keep bringing up the fucking countries? So that's all they're saying, is that they're coming out with a gold-backed currency, and then who's going to want dollars? And all these countries are going onto the BRICS because to get away from the dollar. No demand for the dollar means no value. We already know it's worthless. And I was showing you that, well, there's Mark McGuire this week. And then this is the good one here. This really explains. I'll show you a couple minutes of it.
I need to drop my belly fat. Thinking about starting to run on the treadmill again.
We don't give a fuck. Just don't eat. You'll like this. This is actually clever.
The American dream. There's a reason they call it a dream. Who's there? Cock-a-doodle-doo, pal. No. I don't have any more money. My job sucks right now. Please, I'll have more money next month. You can't take my house.
Is that your signature?
Oh, okay. Well, just help me work something out, okay? I mean, you said I'm a good credit guy, right? I mean, hey, wait! My dog is in there! No! Don't take my dream! Oh, how did this happen? Hartman? Is that you? Been a long time since the 4th grade. Is that a time machine? There's no need to concern yourself with my stunning accomplishments. Best get in. There's not much time. I gotta go down to the bank and get my life back. They took everything. Oh, bank ain't gonna help you now. Towel in the trunk. Extra set of balls. Put them on. You go. You're gonna get my dream back? No, pal. You are. I'm here to show you,
Submitted for your approval. 1. First National Bank. What is a bank, you ask? A curious place where both space, time, and irony exist. And yet, don't.
You gonna be doing that the whole time?
Pay attention, pile. Exhibit A. Those who have come to deposit and safely store their earned monies. Exhibit B. Those who need to borrow said money for purposes unknown.
Hey, that's me.
Ergo, Exhibit C. The bank only has so much money in the vault to lend out to people such as you.
Hey, that's the guy. He took my house. Really screwing my vibe here, pal. Space-time continuum. He can't hear you. Just let me narrate. Now, where was I?
So you see, by the time he got to you, pile, his bank was out of money.
But he gave me lots of money and charged me a lot of interest.
Yes, that's the only way banks make money, by making debt loans. Debt equals money, pile. Remember that. Debt equals money. The more loans they make, the more money they make.
But if they don't have any money, then where did my money come from?
You're going to want to take a step back, by the way. Whoa! No way! Yes way. And that's nothing. Hey, buddy, need some money? They didn't do that.
Oh, they did exactly that, pal. Remember, banks make money by making loans, by selling debt, even to bad credit risks.
Yo, have some money, dude. Just sign here. Oh my gosh!
They called it free money.
Yeah, that's exactly what my loan guy told me. Free money.
But it ain't free. The worst part was offering money to people who don't even need it. People, pal, like you.
You're right. I didn't need him. I was happy here. I didn't need it.
All right, I don't want to. It's 30 minutes long, but I wanted you get. It's a financial cartoon. It's very good. Highly recommend it. But just it explains a lot of the banking and money and the Fed. Does a good thing on the Fed, where it's just printing money out of thin air, and they keep you in the dark and they tax you about it. So, get a chance, watch it. I did. I thought it was very good. Anyways, so that was that. 7 things you should never. 7 things you should always keep private. It's basically don't brag about success. Don't just keep things to yourself that are important. Like if you're dieting or gold or you lost weight or you did stuff, you just keep it to yourself. You don't brag about stuff. Seem to be 2 or 3 of the 7 were the same things. But Stoics is about self-confidence. And like I said, with the struggles with Daria, where are you? And I finally, well, you saw in the class yesterday, I was talking to her, and it's basically she's working. And when she's working, she's not thinking of me. She knows I'm fine. She knows our relationship's fine. So she's not worried about it. So she's not thinking. She's thinking of her mother and her daughter and some other friends and bills and whatever she needs. So she's thinking about that stuff. So there's nothing to tell me. What are you going to say? Hi, how are you? She doesn't think like that. She's Russian. So that's really the point. But being stoic is we stick to our guns. We know this back against the wall works. So if we give a pick, it's being stoic, or the baseball or the football. We know Mahomes is a good dog. So you don't let people talk you out of it. So in some, but it affects when I work, when I get that same thing that I do with football or anything else or gold, like at work, I get in trouble talking about gold, but I know the boat's sinking. So I will go up to people and say, well, do you have gold? And they'll go, no. And then they get all scared. And then like a bunch of babies, instead of talking to me about it, they go, tell HR on me or something. And I'm like, but I know I'm right. And, I would tell people get out of the stock market. But people at work, I guess these younger kids are a bunch of babies. They don't want to be told stuff like that. And then they won't come to you. They go to HR. They report you. Like, I guess they think they're doing a good deed by saying, Howard's bothering me. He's talking about gold. And you're like, yeah, I'm like, go fuck off then. And so it makes you not want to talk because, well, you might report me because all these people now are a bunch of socialists who, he talked to me. He said hello to me. Oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable. Anyway, a day in the life of Putin. We'll just run through a few of these.
Why LA women aren't going to the gym. I'm out here asking people who look fit what they do for their diets.
Discuss a day in the life of Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin's daily routine.
Before we see his current lifestyle, let's dig a little bit into his past to see what his life looked like back then, in contrast to how it does today. Born in Leningrad, USSR, now St. Petersburg, Russia, on October 7th, 1952, Putin's early life
Got that mean look to
during a
him,
time
doesn't
of
he?
significant geopolitical shifts. He spent 15 years within the ranks of the KGB, the Soviet-era intelligence agency that operated as a counterpart
Just like
to
Joe
the CIA.
Biden.
The KGB, an emblematic figure of the Cold War, gained notoriety and was often featured in a multitude of US spy novels and films, capturing the era's intrigue and tension. By 1994, Putin had risen to the position of deputy mayor in his hometown, and his ascent continued as he became the director of the FSB, the domestic successor to the KGB, by 1998. Within another year, he assumed the role of prime minister and subsequently transitioned to the presidency, which he has occupied for the majority of his time since then. Vladimir Putin's introverted nature was shaped during his childhood, where he grew up in a surrogate family after being sent there by his biological parents. This experience, as highlighted by political scientist Stanislav Belkowski, was quite traumatic for Putin, which may have led him to develop a sense of distrust towards people and seek solace in the company of animals. As a result, the Russian president's closest companions are his two dogs, Coney and Buffy, making them his only true friends in his inner circle. Over the years, he became hungry for power as a means to achieve the admiration.
I love when people have animals as friends.
He's probably feared more than he's loved by anyone, even those closest to him. But he's achieved the powerful status he so desired. The rest, as we know, is history that is loaded with his domineering, dictating, ruthless, and cold personality. Due to his extensive time in politics, Putin has witnessed the tenure of 5 US presidents, with 4 of them completing their terms and leaving office. According to some sources, in the past 2 decades, Putin has reportedly solidified his control over Russia's governance by reshaping its courts, media, and other institutions to align with his own authority. This consolidation of power has revolved around his own interests and decisions. It is said that he amended Russia's constitution to extend his potential stay in power until 2036, and potentially even beyond, marking a significant influence on the nation's political landscape. Today, Vladimir Putin is the president of Russia, with a rumored net worth of about $210 billion, making him one of the richest leaders in the world. Let's see what a day in his life looks like right now. You might think Putin, like most other world leaders and successful people, rises early in the morning, but that's not the case. In fact, the Russian president wakes up quite late and his breakfast is almost brunch because he takes it around noon. He devours a scrumptious breakfast that comprises an omelette or a large serving of porridge. Putin's breakfast preferences reportedly also include beetroot and horseradish cocktails, showcasing his taste for unique flavors. Putin almost always has cottage cheese accompanying his breakfast. He balances the meal with some fresh fruits on the side. Reportedly, he also drinks raw quail eggs with his breakfast sometimes. The ingredients for his delicious meal don't come from just any other market, but are specially sourced from the farmland estates of the patriarch Kirill, Russia's religious leader. Coffee is his favorite beverage, which he sips on right after his breakfast. And then it's time for work. He thinks about the decisions he has to make and other political affairs of Russia. You're probably imagining a conference room where Putin sits with a stern look on his face, but that's not Putin's style. He does all of this serious thinking while swimming, and it's not just a couple of laps, but 2 whole hours of cutting through the water. He surely knows how to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, accomplishing his daily exercise and critical decision-making at the same time. When it comes to exercise, the Russian president is very
Biden probably does this, huh?
his fitness levels. After swimming, he sometimes likes to sweat it out at the gym. And finally, after all of that exercise, it's time to get to some real work. In general, Russian President Vladimir Putin starts his workday in the early afternoon. Initially, he settles at his desk to review briefing materials, which consist of reports on domestic intelligence, foreign affairs, and media coverage from both Russia and the international community. To prevent any potential online security breaches, all official communications are conducted on paper, organized in red folders. The only exception to this practice is the use of fixed-line Soviet war-era telephones for phone calls, ensuring a more secure means of communication for sensitive matters. Coming back to his food preferences, Vladimir Putin follows an exceptionally healthy diet, not only for breakfast but also throughout the day, primarily consisting of tomatoes, cucumbers, and lettuce. While he has a particular fondness for mutton among various meats, his preferred choice is fish. Sweets, on the other hand, are believed to be strictly avoided and kept off his menu. However, once in a while,
he watches our doctor.
In ice cream, and pistachio-flavored ice cream is favorite. He's also known to savor chicken noodle soup. In the 2022 book Putin's Family, authored by Alexander Putin, it's revealed that he has an inclination towards various pies for dinner. This penchant might have been influenced by his mother's culinary practices, as she used to bake pies filled with savory ingredients like cabbage, rice, and meat. He likes rice and buckwheat, but is not a fan of oatmeal. If he has the chance to skip meals, he does so. Here's what he said in an interview. "When I go somewhere, I'm pleased to try the local cuisine. I'm accustomed to green tea. I usually don't have dinner, I don't have time. In the afternoon, I try to eat fruit, to drink kefir when it's available. And when it's not, I prefer not to eat anything at all." To accompany his meals, although Putin occasionally misses meals due to his busy schedule, he has a preference for wine and beer. On occasion, he indulges in a shot of vodka as an aperitif, highlighting his inclination towards both local and traditional beverages. As far as sleeping patterns are concerned, we already know he wakes up really late, which means that the Russian president is a night owl and frequently works late into the night. It is during these late hours that he is said to be at his most alert and sharpest. During his international travels, the Russian president's schedule becomes quite stringent. Whenever he stays in a foreign country, everything from bed sheets to toiletries and even fruit bowls is replaced to ensure the highest level of security and privacy. Additionally, Putin is known to be cautious about the food he consumes during these trips and never accepts any food that hasn't been thoroughly vetted and cleared by the Kremlin in advance. During the weekends, the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, often enjoys a more flexible work schedule to accommodate his English language classes. On Sundays, he occasionally engages in prayer and makes confessions. Despite these religious practices, Russian officials close to him emphasize that his lifestyle is not entirely reflective of a devout Christian. Clearly, at regular intervals, Vladimir Putin's schedule opens up to indulge in one of his favorite hobbies, ice hockey. The Russian president doesn't
Biden
simply
does
watch the
this.
sport. He actively participates in a league and competes against teams composed of his bodyguards. It's an enjoyable pastime for Putin, combining his passion for the sport with some friendly competition among his close associates.
Hey, did you know you can learn 100 songs on piano in 1 hour? No way. All you need to learn is 4 chords. These.
Sport with some friendly competition among his close associates. The Russian president's choice of sport is a reflection of himself. Cold, Vladimir Putin's life with his girlfriend. He's always working, but that doesn't mean the Russian president doesn't have a personal life. Whether he's romantic or not, nobody really knows. But from all that we're about to tell you, you'll be able to take a guess yourself. In 1983, Putin entered into marriage with Lyudmila, a flight attendant. The couple welcomed 2 daughters, Maria and Katerina, during their time together. However, their marriage concluded in divorce in 2013, marking a significant change in Putin's personal life. It is speculated that he was already having an extramarital affair with former gymnast Alina Kabayeva since the 2000s. Kabayeva, before her retirement from gymnastics in 2007, secured 2 Olympic medals for Russia and amassed numerous World Championship and European Championship honors. Known for her remarkable flexibility, Kabayeva's romantic involvement with Putin is speculated to have commenced approximately when she concluded her gymnastics career. At the time, she was around 25 years old, while he was approximately 55. Kabayeva's presence on the Kremlin's website dates back to 2001, captured in a photograph alongside Putin during a sports event. This appearance took place when Kabayeva was around 18 years old, marking a significant juncture in their rumored relationship. They've been together for a long time, but does Kabayeva live with the president or have a separate home for herself? Vladimir Putin had a specific vision for his own residence, aiming to design it to resemble the magnificent Winter Palace in St. Petersburg, often referred to as the Golden House. After his official divorce from former First Lady Lyudmila Ocheretnaya, the Russian president introduced his girlfriend, Alina Kabayeva, to this remarkable property. In 2020, Putin commenced the construction of a new
Look how
residence
this guy
in Kabayeva,
lives.
located in close proximity to the Golden House, showcasing his commitment to creating a comfortable and luxurious space for his partner. According to a recent investigation, Russian President Vladimir Putin is now reportedly residing with his girlfriend, gymnast Alina Kabayeva, and their children in a lavish palace situated in a forest near Valdai, approximately 250 miles outside Moscow. The construction of this opulent property allegedly took place shortly after Putin entered the political arena in 1996, as detailed in the report. Reports suggest that the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, purportedly utilized a slush fund in Cyprus to acquire his partner's real estate holdings, estimated to be worth $120 million. The palace, boasting a size of around 13,000 square feet, was built entirely from wood, designed in the style of a traditional Russian dacha. Notably, businessman Yuri Kovalchuk, commonly referred to as Putin's banker, was allegedly responsible for overseeing the construction of this lavish residence. Both Vladimir Putin and Alina Kabaeva's houses are located at an approximate equal distance from a vast spa complex, offering an array of luxurious amenities. This complex boasts a solarium, a cryo chamber, a 25-meter swimming pool, a hammam, a sauna, a mud massage baths, as well as dedicated areas for cosmetology and dentistry. Additionally, there is a personal armored train available for travel to
I love
Putin's
this.
lakeside hideout, along with private train stations serving his residences in Sochi and Novo Ogoryovo near Moscow. Furthermore, it is reported that Kabaeva is attended by a team of chaperones who cater to her every need while she stays at the property. This ensures that both Putin and Kabaeva have access to a lavish lifestyle and personalized care at their shared retreat. There are speculations that Putin and Kabaeva have multiple children together, but these children are deliberately kept away from the public eye. Their identities and details are carefully guarded due to their young ages, ensuring their privacy and protection from media scrutiny. As a result, the public remains unaware of their existence, and any information about them is scarce. Vladimir Putin's luxury mansions. While it is speculated that he currently lives with his girlfriend, Vladimir Putin has several other lavish mansions in Russia. Let's take a look at these multi-million-dollar
Good to be
properties.
king.
He possesses a staggering $1 billion mansion known
Holy
as
fuck.
Putin's Palace. This gigantic palace is located near the coastal town of Gelendzhik. Within the palace complex, various structures stand, including a sprawling 17,700 square meter or 191,000 square feet house.
Huh.
The compound boasts an arboretum, greenhouse, helipad, ice palace, church, amphitheater, and a distinct tea house serving as a guest residence. Notably, it features an ice palace, gas station, and an 80-meter or 260 feet bridge. An underground tunnel runs through the mountain, housing a tasting room. The principal building encompasses a range of amenities, such as a swimming pool, aqua discotheque arrangements, spa, saunas, and Turkish baths. Additional facilities include shops for meat, fish, vegetables, and desserts, along with a warehouse, reading room, music lounge, hookah bar, theater, and cinema.
In
The
his
palace
house.
also houses a wine cellar, casino,
Fuck.
and a dozen guest bedrooms. The master bedroom is huge, spanning 260 square meters or 2,800 square feet, and is proof that Putin settles for nothing less than extreme luxury. Italian architect Lanfranco Cirillo, renowned for designing properties for Russia's elite, conceptualized this remarkable residence. What truly stands out is the immense size of the exterior compound, which spans over 39 times the area of the entire country of Monaco, making it an impressive addition to his real estate portfolio. The huge and opulent master bedroom is nothing short of grandeur, featuring lavish gold leaf gilded ceilings. The focal point of the room is an exquisite royal four-poster master bed adorned with luxurious silk covers and complemented by stunning parquetry flooring. The mansion's exterior boasts vast and immaculate lush green lawns, along with an intricately designed ice hockey rink, lavish bathrooms featuring Italian toilet brushes valued at $850, and toilet paper holders costing $1,250, stand as proof of the extravagant setting Putin resides in. Reportedly, there are plans to construct a massive reading room inspired by the Kremlin's Georgievsky Hall. Expected to be one of the most magnificent rooms on the property, it will showcase beautiful white marble flooring and minimalist white walls adorned with intricate gold detailing, creating an ambience of opulence and elegance. The opulent and flamboyant design of the property extends even to the dining area, where the walls are adorned with intricate gold leaf detailing. The furniture and fixtures in this room are designed in the elegant style of Louis XIV, reportedly Putin's favorite design preference. To emphasize the extravagance, it's worth noting that a single chair from his dining set is rumored to cost around $10,300. One of the standout features of this coastal mansion is the pool room, which exudes luxury with its wall-to-wall tiling and breathtaking marble flooring. The overall grandeur and attention to detail in the design truly make this property a sight to behold. The grand mansion's upkeep is equally staggering. Its landscaping alone requires an astounding $2 million annually, managed by a workforce of 40 individuals. This serves as a stark illustration of the immense resources allocated to maintain the luxurious surroundings, while a significant portion of the population grapples with adversity. Well, the Russian president's nation seems to be suffering. I wonder why. Looking at such grandeur, one would think, what more could the president ask for? This palace has everything a person wants and beyond, but Vladimir Putin's thirst for luxury doesn't end, which is why he has many other breathtaking properties. When he has a day off, maybe he likes to spend time in his awe-inspiring holiday home, Vladimir Putin's preferred holiday home, known as Dacha Putin, is a magnificent and exclusive mansion built for his personal use. Situated in Praskovevka, this lavish sea-facing residence reportedly comes with a staggering price tag of $1 billion. The meticulously
Jesus
designed
Christ.
stone building rests on a sprawling 40-acre land in Sochi. While there are no interior pictures available to the public, media reports highlight the property's stunning sea-facing view and private access to the sea, adding to its allure. The opulence of Dacha Putin extends to a gold-plated private pool, exquisitely designed rooms, and not one but 3 helipads. Putin's own room is undoubtedly a regal affair, reflecting his penchant for a king-size lifestyle. With such grand features and luxurious amenities, it's no wonder that this coastal mansion holds a special place in the Russian president's heart. And then there's the Grand Kremlin Palace that is located in the western part of Moscow, serves as the official residence of the Russian president, and has been Vladimir Putin since 2000. All official events are held here. The exterior of this magnificent building is adorned with glittering decorations, giving it a dreamlike appearance. Its grandeur and historical significance make it a truly iconic and symbolic structure within the heart of Russia's political and cultural heritage. The presidential compound is enclosed by formidable 1.5 miles of walls, reaching up to 21 feet in thickness. This highly secure complex spans 68 acres and boasts around 20 towers and 15 buildings within its perimeter. Being the official residence of the Russian president, it holds immense significance, as crucial decisions concerning the nation are made within its walls. Additionally, this prestigious venue is used to host official government ceremonies. The impressive Great Kremlin Palace, originally designed by chief architect Konstantin Thon, was commissioned during the reign of Emperor Nicholas I and stands as a symbol of Russia's historical and architectural heritage. Its grandeur and strategic importance underscore its role as a center of power and decision-making within the country. While he asserts ownership of an 800-square-foot apartment, a trailer and 3 cars, speculation abounds regarding an extensive collection of opulent possessions attributed to him. These rumored assets encompass the sprawling 190,000-square-foot Putin's palace that we talked about, and he reportedly owns 19 other residences. Reports suggest ownership of a staggering 700 cars, 58 aircraft and helicopters,
700 cars.
$716 million plane dubbed the Flying Kremlin. The alleged extravagance continues with accounts of mega yachts and a selection of luxury watches, which we will talk about shortly. These claims of immense wealth and luxury possessions contrast starkly with the modest claims of ownership he maintains. Vladimir Putin's luxurious commute. If the Russian travels during the day, he does so in style, heavily secured style. The current official presidential vehicle is an Aurus Senate limousine, taking the place of the previous Mercedes-Benz S600 Guard Pullman. The Aurus Senate has been designed to adhere to the rigorous standards set by the Federal Protective Service, featuring an array of life-saving defensive and offensive measures. Developed in Russia as part of the Cortege project by NAMI, the Aurus Senate made its public debut during the 4th inauguration of Vladimir Putin in 2018 and is worth a whopping $1.2 million. This opulent and
Jesus,
highly
never heard of
secure
it.
vehicle reflects both technological innovation and a symbol of presidential prestige in Russia. And that's just one of the cars from his rumored collection of 700 cars. In his collection are several Mercedes cars, the Lada Vesta sedan and the Lada Niva 4X4, among others. And it isn't just cars that Putin likes to go around the country in. The Russian president uses a very luxurious train called the Ghost Train to travel across Russia. The 22-car train boasts extravagant amenities, such as a fully furnished gym, a spa area complete with anti-aging machines, and a lavish Turkish bath steam room. Alongside the opulent sleeping quarters and intricately designed dining cars, the train even includes a movie theater for entertainment. Despite its luxurious offerings, the train maintains its heavy armor, featuring bulletproof doors and windows, and is equipped with essential medical equipment designed to save lives, an unsettling contrast to the suffering wrought by war. The creation of this lavish train comes with an astonishing price tag of $74 million,
Oh
a
my
financial
God.
weight carried by the Russian populace. Additionally, the yearly expenses for maintaining and upkeeping the train add up to an extra $15.8 million. Coming to the skies, Putin's private jet is the Il-96-300PU. The airliner's sheer dimensions command admiration, with its length approaching 65 meters and wingspan exceeding 65 meters. The differences between Putin's Il-96-300PU and the standard passenger model are marginal. While the aircraft's exterior largely resembles the basic version, Putin's private jet has a cabin that boasts ornate tapestries and opulent gold accents. The neoclassical style influences both the furnishings and interior decor. The facility encompasses an array of amenities, comprising a private office, numerous meeting and conference rooms, a serene relaxation room, designated guest lounge, a compact mini gym, a spacious dining area, and a well-stocked bar. The premises also house multiple showers for convenience, in addition to a comprehensive medical unit equipped to handle a range of emergency treatments. Besides the IL-96-300PU, the Russian president is rumored to own other private jets, and the total collection is estimated to have an astronomical worth of $1 billion. Vladimir Putin's costliest...
Okay, so it's good to be king. See, that's what happens when you have gold, right? You can do all that stuff. I'm just, most of the people are poor in Russia, and he obviously has a good time taking their money and using it. I mean, I don't know. It was communist. It went private. So he would run, gas and oil and gold and whatever mines, and he would just take them over, and he'd make a fortune because he didn't allow competition, but they were privatized, so they're run better. That's where these oligarchs come in. We can look at an oligarch one at a different time, but basically, if you are the monopoly like JP Morgan of a business, you make a lot of money because there's no competition. You can charge a lot. So there's Putin. Jesus Christ. I wanted to show you that just because it just is mind blowing. You wonder why he's the president, why he still works. You just don't know. But he'll be there till 2037, and he eats healthy and no sugar and no carbs. Is my kind of guy. Guy knows how to eat. So anyway, that's Putin. We're talking. See, that's the end game. So you get out of money, and you get gold, and with the gold, you get what Putin has. The more gold you have, the more houses, trains, planes, and cars. I'm not sure why he has 700 cars. So it's only 365 days in the year. So it takes him 2 years to go through all his cars. Oh my God. I mean, why would you have 700? All right, 4 or 5, but 700? The train's unbelievable. The houses are unbelievable. Jesus Christ. A hot gymnast girlfriend. Yeah. Hot Russian lifestyle. Anyway, see, but he's got gold, so he doesn't have to worry about going broke. All the Americans have dollars, won't have it. Anyway, I just ran across that, so I thought I'd share it. Let's go through basketball. We're taking Denver today, 4.5. Baseball, Boston, Baltimore, the Yanks, Washington, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, or Tampa Bay over, Cleveland over. The Mets, KC, Milwaukee over. The Cubbies, Texas under. The Niners, the Dodgers under. Arizona over. And San Diego. And the picks, Baltimore 5 unit, Washington 5 unit, Tampa Bay over 8, 10 unit, Cleveland over 7.5, 10 unit. The Mets 5 unit, KC 5 unit, Milwaukee over 8.5, 5 unit. The Cubbies, Frisco, and San Diego 5 units. Now those are the picks. If you're going to bet baseball, and then maybe someday you can live like Putin does. Where does he get all this money? And yet the ruble is worthless, and Russia is not poor, so just unbelievable. So it's good to be king. That's Putin. You can only imagine what Xi's houses look like in China and South Korea and all these leaders. And then you start understanding why they like Keynesian, and they don't want free market, and they like, socialism, because they get to print all that, and then he gets to do all that because he can, right? He's the dictator, and that's the danger. Now in a free market, Biden's got a lot of that shit, not as much, and Trump got it, but Trump didn't earn his money. He got it from his father. But gold protects all that. So if there's nothing else I can tell you about gold, you want that, you got to have gold. You're not doing it with money. And if you have that much money, you better buy gold or you won't have that for long. So anyway, that's what's going on. Good luck on baseball with that. Have a happy Sunday. Time to watch the PGA. I think it started at 1, but I don't think the leaders started. Anybody understand what happened with Scotty Scheffler? There was a car accident and the traffic was stopped, but he had to get to the golf course for his tee time, and they arrested him for not obeying the traffic laws because if there's an accident, you're supposed to stop, and he kept going because he thinks he's a big guy because he plays golf, I guess. I didn't hear the whole thing, but that's my thought of what happened. So basically, he didn't obey the law, and they told him to shove it. They don't care he's a golfer. That doesn't mean anything. Tiger Woods maybe would have got away with it, and maybe Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, not Scott Scheffler. I mean, who's this bum? So my money today, I think I like. I think like the guy from Britain. I like the big guy. What's his name? Shane somebody. I don't know. He's really big. Sean, I can't think of his name, but I like him. I think there's no way that Shafley wins. He'll choke. Maybe Justin Rose or Shane, guy from England. I don't think Morikawa. I don't know who he is. I think he'll choke. And must be a real tough course. They're at what, 15 under, 16 under after 3 rounds. What kind of course is this? Yeah, that's a joke. I mean, what are you having a major championship on this type of course? I find the golfers extremely boring, and I don't know any of them. I mean, I like Jason Day, and then Rory, and then Justin Rose, and that. Those are the guys I'm rooting for. But this Xander Schauffele is the biggest choke I've ever seen, and Scott Scheffler, he's gone, he's done, and Justin Spieth, I hate him. So we will see what happens. But if I was betting, I'd bet that Shane guy or Justin Rose over Schauffele. I will not win. He's choke city. I guess yesterday he took 20 minutes to take a shot and he hit it in the woods, and the announcers are going, yeah, see, you got to keep your rhythm. You can't do it. Doesn't he know this by now? To keep your rhythm, like somebody has to tell him this. He's a pro golfer and he doesn't know to keep his rhythm. That's why he chokes, because he'll tighten up. He'll have to make a shot and he'll choke and choke and choke and choke, and then he'll hit it in the woods or hit it in the water, and game over. All right, that's it. www.teaserking.com. Hope you enjoyed. See you tomorrow. Not sure when. My foot feels the best it's felt. My knee's fine. My Achilles is much better. It's really just gout in the Achilles, but it hasn't moved, and it's starting to feel better. So I might take today away from the pool, go to the lake, and just walk a little bit on it, and watch the golf. So just relax. I got my Chinese yesterday, but I'll tell you, the drive to the Chinese, my foot's like this, which hurts the Achilles, and I can't. If I wear a shoe too long, it just swells up. So that's why I don't want to go to the pool. And if I do go to the lake, it's not. I'm not gonna. I'll walk a little bit, but not now. Anyway, that's what's happening. Have a good day. Enjoy. Again, www.teaserking.com, and we'll start teaching classes as soon as we get people. I got to figure out the advertisement, and still figuring out what to do with football. I might do both. I might do a class where we go through the games, charge you some money, or we might go through the same way where you pay for the picks on the website, and we can give a few free picks or something. Still working it out. All right. Anyway, have a nice day. And you too can buy gold and live like Putin. All right. Take care.